Words that take you places. Kotoba camp.
Interior.
Interior. The inner part, or inside of something, especially a building or object, situated within or inside. Inner.
内部、内侧、内部的、内在的。
The interior of the cave contained ancient paintings that provided insight into the culture of early humans. The interior of large planets such as Jupiter is composed mainly of hydrogen and helium under immense pressure.
The interior of the art museum was designed to maximize natural light, while preserving the delicate paintings on display.
If we analyze the interior of the Earth, we find that its core generates a magnetic field, which is essential for life on the planet. And I believe that understanding these processes can help us address environmental challenges.
In academic discussions of architecture, the interior spaces of buildings are often evaluated for their functionality, aesthetics, and cultural significance.
Interiorize.
Interiorize.
Artists often interiorize their emotions, expressing them through abstract forms. Interiority.
Interiority. The novel explores the interiority of its protagonist through stream of consciousness narration.
Inside, inner, internal, inward.
内部、里面、内在、向内。
Exterior, outside, external, outward.
外部、外面、外在、向外。
Interrupt.
Interrupt.
To stop the continuous progress of an activity or process. To break the continuity of something. An act of interrupting or a break in continuity.
打断、中断、中断行为、间断。
During the critical experiment, a sudden power outage interrupted the data collection process, causing significant delays. The volcanic eruption interrupted the migration patterns of several bird species, forcing them to find alternative routes.
A loud noise from construction nearby interrupted the detailed explanation of ancient trade networks in the Mediterranean.
I was focusing on the intricate details of economic policies in historical contexts, when a sudden announcement interrupted my train of thought, and I think such distractions can really affect the depth of analysis.
Unexpected events can interrupt the flow of cultural preservation efforts, often requiring adaptive strategies to maintain progress.
Interruption.
Interruption.
The frequent interruption of water supply in arid regions poses challenges to sustainable agriculture. Interrupter.
Interrupter. An automatic interrupter in the circuit prevents damage from power surges.
Disrupt, disturb, hinder, obstruct.
打乱、干扰、阻碍、妨碍。
Continue, proceed, maintain, sustai.
继续、前进、维持、保持。
Issue.
Issue.
An important topic or problem for debate or discussion. A result or outcome. To supply or distribute something officially.
问题、议题、结果、结局、发行、发布。
The environmental consequences of deforestation have become a pressing issue in global policy discussions. The issue of water scarcity in certain regions has led to innovative approaches for conservation and resource management.
The rapid urbanization in developing countries has raised the issue of sustainable housing and infrastructure planning.
When considering the issue of climate change, it's clear that industrial emissions play a significant role in global warming, and in my opinion, implementing stricter regulations could help mitigate these effects significantly.
The issue of preserving historical artifacts often conflicts with modern development needs, requiring balanced solutions.
Issuance.
Issuance.
The issuance of new environmental guidelines aims to reduce carbon footprints across industries. Issuer.
Issuer. The central bank, as the primary issuer of currency, controls the money supply to stabilize the economy.
Matter, topic, concern, problem.
事情、话题、关注、问题。
Solution, answer, resolution, conclusio.
解决方案、答案、决议、结论。
Item.
Item.
An individual article or unit, especially one that is part of a list, collection, or set.
项目、物品、条目。
The museum catalog includes an item described as a rare ceramic vase from the Ming Dynasty, showcasing exquisite craftsmanship. The inventory list highlighted an item of particular interest, a fossilized bone from a previously unknown dinosaur species.
Among the artifacts recovered from the shipwreck, one item stood out: a gold coin bearing inscriptions from an ancient empire.
Looking at the collection of historical relics, one item caught my attention: a small bronze tool believed to be used in early agricultural practices. And I think its simplicity reflects the ingenuity of ancient societies.
Each item in the geological survey kit must be carefully calibrated to ensure accurate measurements of soil composition.
Itemize.
Itemize.
A financial report will itemize all expenses to provide transparency in budget allocation. Itemization.
Itemization. The itemization of artifacts in the archive helps historians trace the origins of each piece.
Object, piece, article, thing.
物件、件、物品、东西。
Whole, total, aggregate, entirety.
整体、总计、总和、全体。
Iceberg.
Iceberg.
A large floating mass of ice detached from a glacier or ice sheet and carried out to sea.
冰山。
A massive iceberg broke off from the Antarctic ice shelf, posing a potential threat to shipping routes in the Southern Ocean. The collision with an iceberg in 1912 led to the tragic sinking of the Titanic, highlighting the dangers of Arctic navigation.
Observations in the Arctic reveal that an iceberg can drift thousands of miles before melting, impacting ocean currents significantly.
When discussing climate change, I noticed how an iceberg melting faster than expected serves as a stark reminder of rising global temperatures, and I believe this should push us to adopt more sustainable practices urgently.
The presence of an iceberg in warmer waters often accelerates its melting, contributing to sea level rise over extended periods.
Iceberg lettuce.
Iceberg lettuce.
A salad was made with iceberg lettuce, providing a refreshing crunch to the dish. Iceberg-like.
Iceberg-like. The company's financial troubles were iceberg-like, with only a small portion visible to the public.
Glacier flow, ice mass.
冰川、浮冰、冰块、冰团。
Landmass, island, continent, shore.
陆地、岛屿、大陆、海岸。
Idle.
Idle.
Are ought active or in use. Without purpose or effect? To spend time doing nothing, to run at low power without significant work.
空闲的、无所事事的、无目的的、闲置、虚度。
The machinery remained idle during the factory shutdown, leading to substantial financial losses over several months. The idle equipment in the laboratory could have been utilized for additional experiments if proper funding had been secured.
After the harvest season, many agricultural tools remain idle until the next planting cycle begins in the following year.
Reflecting on resource management, I find it frustrating that so many tools stay idle in storage when they could support community projects, and I think better planning could maximize their use effectively.
Leaving industrial plants idle for extended periods can degrade their components, necessitating costly repairs later on.
Idleness.
Idleness.
Prolonged idleness of the workforce during economic downturns can lead to skill degradation. Idly.
Idly. The team sat idly during the delay, unable to proceed with the geological survey due to weather constraints.
Inactive, unused, unoccupied, dormant.
不活跃、未使用、空闲、休眠。
Active, busy, engaged, occupied.
活跃、忙碌、参与、占用。
Illegible.
Illegible.
OT clear enough to be read. Difficult or impossible to decipher.
难以辨认的、字迹不清的。
The ancient manuscript was so faded that many of its pages were illegible, hindering efforts to understand its historical context. Handwritten notes from the 18th century were largely illegible, complicating the transcription process for archivists.
Some inscriptions on the weathered stone tablets were illegible, obscuring key details about the civilization that created them.
Examining historical documents, I noticed that the text on several parchments was illegible due to water damage, and I believe digital restoration techniques could help recover some of the lost information.
The illegible markings on the artifact made it challenging to determine its origin, without advanced imaging technology.
Illegibility.
Illegibility.
The illegibility of the faded map frustrated explorers attempting to trace ancient trade routes. Illegibly.
Illegibly. The instructions were written illegibly, causing delays in assembling the scientific equipment.
Unreadable, indecipherable, unclear, obscure.
无法阅读、难以解读、不清楚、模糊。
Readable, clear, legible, decipherable.
可读、清晰、可辨认、可解读。
Illuminate.
Illuminate.
To light up, to make clear or understandable. To decorate with lights.
照亮、阐明、解释、用灯装饰。
The discovery of bioluminescent organisms in deep-sea trenches helped illuminate previously unknown aspects of marine ecosystems. The newly installed lighting system will illuminate the ancient ruins at night, enhancing their visibility for visitors.
The documentary used archival footage to illuminate the social dynamics of the 1960s civil rights movement in urban areas.
When analyzing historical events, I found that primary sources often illuminate overlooked perspectives, like personal diaries from that era, and I think this adds depth to our understanding of the past.
Detailed diagrams in the textbook illuminate complex chemical reactions, making them easier to grasp for students.
Illumination.
Illumination.
The illumination of the manuscript with gold leaf made it a prized artifact in medieval collections. Illuminating.
Illuminating. The lecture on quantum mechanics was illuminating, breaking down intricate concepts into accessible explanations.
Brighten, light up, clarify, elucidate.
照亮、点亮、澄清、阐释。
Darken, obscure, confuse, cloud.
使变暗、模糊、混淆、遮蔽。
Illustration.
Illustration.
A picture, diagram, or drawing used to explain or decorate something. An example that clarifies or proves something.
插图、图解、例证、说明。
The biology textbook included a detailed illustration of the human circulatory system, aiding students in visualizing blood flow patterns. The museum catalog featured an illustration of a 17th century astronomical instrument, highlighting its intricate design.
During the lecture on plate tectonics, a vivid illustration of converging boundaries clarified the formation of mountain ranges.
Reflecting on effective learning tools. I've seen how a well-crafted illustration can simplify complex topics like cellular processes, and I believe integrating more visuals in education enhances comprehension significantly.
The article on renewable energy used an illustration of a wind turbine to demonstrate how kinetic energy converts to electricity.
Illustrative.
Illustrative.
The chart was illustrative of the sharp decline in biodiversity across tropical regions over the past decade. Illustrator.
Illustrator. The illustrator captured the essence of the ancient myth through vibrant depictions of its central characters.
Diagram sketch, depiction, example.
图表、草图、描绘、例子。
Text, narrative, obscurity, ambiguity.
文本、叙述、模糊、歧义。
Imitation.
Imitation.
The act of copying or mimicking something or someone. A thing made to look like something else. Made to resemble something else, often of lesser quality.
模仿、仿效、仿制品、仿造的。
The use of imitation materials in early architectural models allowed builders to test designs before using expensive resources. The artifact was identified as an imitation of a Roman coin, crafted much later than the original period.
In the discussion on animal behavior, birds were noted for their imitation of human sounds in urban environments.
Observing cultural trends. I've noticed how imitation of traditional art forms in modern media can preserve heritage, and I think this blending of old and new fosters greater appreciation across generations.
The market for imitation jewelry has grown, offering affordable alternatives that mimic the appearance of precious gems.
Imitative.
Imitative.
The imitative behavior of certain primates reveals their capacity for learning through observation. Imitator.
Imitator. The imitator replicated the painting style of the Renaissance master with remarkable precision.
Copy, replica, simulation, mimicry.
复制品、仿制品、模拟、模仿。
Original, genuine, authentic, real.
原创、正品、真实、真正的。
Well done! Take a break and remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Let's keep our learning motivation fresh.
Mistakes are proof that you are trying.